Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up as the guardian of the blue paint turned writer is on his game this week. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry, and on the show this week, a blueprint for the Flyers, better, faster, stronger. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc.
I'm your host, Lance Green.
And I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers. And boy, have we got a special one lined up for you tonight. Whoo! How about that? A blueprint for the Flyers. Better, faster, stronger. Yeah, man. Episode 26 of the Hockey Writers Inc. And we got a whole bunch of great stuff to get into. Two great articles to talk about, for one. So let's start off by saying, Lance, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm ready to rock and roll.
I'm excited.
That? Yeah,
I'm
man,
excited.
Me too. First of all, we would like to thank Jamie Baskow and Flyers Nitty Gritty for all their great support and everything that they've done to help us and all the great, wonderful things that they do to help us get noticed and recognition. 22 weeks in a row now on Bleacher Reports. So that's the Hockey Writers Inc. salute to them and Jamie Baskow and the whole gang of Flyers Nitty Gritty. Thank you all very much for all your support and help. We would also like to thank our sponsors, K9 Country Club Resorts. You can follow them at www.cccresorts.com. They're also on Facebook, so you can check them out there on Facebook, and you can find out all their great events they have going on and all the wonderful things they're doing. They're also opening up their second location as well. They got swimming pools going to be opening up here real soon, the outdoor one. They also have an indoor swimming pool as well, too, so check them out, www.cccresorts.com. So thank you very much for our sponsors for that as well, too. Also, I would like to take a time for a little shout-out to the Vince Mack family in South Central Pennsylvania. There is a GoFundMe page that's out there for him and his family. It is www.gofundme.com/f/relief for the Vince Mack. That's VINCEMAK family. Please donate if you can. There's going to be a charity 3-on-3 event happening this weekend at the York Ice Arena. That's York, Pennsylvania Ice Arena. So there'll be a charity event there for that as well. So if you can, please go to the GoFundMe page and donate to a huge Flyers fan. Unfortunately, he had a heart attack and passed away. Left a family with 3 children, all under the age of 15. So please help them out. He was a big Flyers fan, went to a lot of games, and it would be great if you could help him out. So thank you very much for that. All right, Lance, you ready to rock and roll, buddy?
I am.
Yeah, man. All right. The very first article that we're going to get into is one that was just recently published today. In fact, it's dripping wet still from the ink. And I loved the first article that you put out a little earlier in the week, and we'll talk about that next. But this article here as well, too, and I like the theme that you're going with here, and that kind of brings us to the title of the show here, which is a blueprint for the Flyers, better, faster, stronger. And this article just put out on FlyersNittyGritty.com earlier today is a blueprint for the Flyers off-season, the Goaltenders Edition. And I have to say that this is what it's all about right here, folks. This is the nitty-gritty meat and potatoes. So what do you think, man? What do we have the rights to Ivan the Great? I mean, what do we got to do? How soon? What's going on?
Well, we do still have the rights.
Okay.
But he did decide to sign back in the KHL for next season because there is no room here. With us keep bringing back Alex Lyon, Brian Elliott, Felix Sandstrom's here that has really been struggling. There's no place for him to play over here in the stateside. So what did he do? He decided to stay in KHL for another season, which is exactly what we didn't want to happen. So,
Right. Gosh. In so many terms, we didn't want that to happen because that's just the worst news, I think, right there. Because come on, this guy really needs to be playing for the Flyers. I mean, the fact that we still have his rights is like, what are you waiting for? What? I mean, you don't even really have to dangle that much money in front of the guy.
no, I think there's a great history of young Russian goalies coming over and having great success, especially this season. He's 24 years old now. He's not a kid, and he's 6'8" and 203 pounds. He's a draft pick of the seventh round from the Flyers back in the 2015 draft. Um, he's a monster. He's been playing great over in the KHL at the highest level of play in
He
Russia.
he ain't no ballerina, is he?
He's not. He's not. He is
No.
huge. He takes up a great deal of net, and he's been having success. He's been playing at the highest level in Russia for
That's
the
what I
past
mean.
3 or 4 seasons,
Yeah.
and
What are you waiting for?
he's he's ready and capable to step into a NHL role. I think next season. A lot of guys have Kirill Ustimenko over him still, but I don't believe so. He had to come over. He had to play ECHL. He just got into the AHL, and then he got hurt this beginning of this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ustimenko never played in the KHL. He played in the MHL, which is like the AHL for over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Which is what you pointed out in the article.
right. So Ivan is set. I think it would take him a little bit of time to get used to the NHL ice. But with that being said, there's a handful of goalies that came over and made little to no transition time, and are starting in the NHL from KHL last season. So
We even heard that from our guest last week, Tommy Soderstrom. He said too that there was some difference, but it wasn't that much of a getting used to,
mhm,
because in the end, it's still you and the guy and the puck.
right.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter how big the ice is and how much time and space they have to get up to you. In the
Mhm.
end, it's still you and the pads and whatever you got to stop that puck. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I played on both in my career, and the bigger ice surface of the Olympic rink is a problem. Can be a lot slower game because there's more ice, but it doesn't. It's not that much different, I don't think. And if you got him signed once the KHL season ended and his contract went up, and then got him over here and maybe played some games this season with the team just to get used to it, seeing that the season is all but a loss now anyway. And then worked with him over the course of the summer and get him in some in-game scenarios, he would be ready by next season. But that's not an option for us now because they've been sitting on their hands and have no space for him to come over. So I think they need to trim the fat and allow for some of these younger guys to be able to come over and sign.
That would be putting it mildly. I like the way you put that, trim the fat. In fact, I concur in one of the things that you talked about in the article about trimming the fat, and one of them is the fact that I think that Elliott needs to go. I don't. There's not anything wrong per se, but I would just like to see some healthy goalie competition for the number one spot. I mean that makes everyone better.
Yeah, I think so. Hart, needs that. I think he, in all reality, in the back of his head, he knows that he's the number one guy. And even though he's not playing as such right now, Elliott is 37 years old. He's well past his prime. He's had 3 seasons of sub 900 or barely 900 save percentage and over 3 goals against or darn near 3 goals against average. That's not productive in the NHL. He seems like a bright spot this season because he's been been playing for some bad teams over the course of his career and is better suited to deal with it than Hart. But in all actuality, I think Hart needs some stiff competition like he had in the WHL his last season with
Yes.
Everett,
Yes.
with Dustin Wolf behind him. Wolf, after Hart left and went and turned pro, Wolf won his own Del Masterson Trophy, I think, with being the best goalie of the WHL, and went on to win a junior championship of his own, gold medal in that as well. And now he's drafted. Hart had no choice but to play well because he could easily have been sidestepped and Dustin Wolf step up that season, his last season in Everett. But he played well because he knew he had somebody behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's what kind of competition I'm talking here, folks.
Agreed.
I don't think that they need to bring in a guy that makes $5, $6, $7 million to backstop Hart or to play in front of him next season. But I think they should bring in some healthy competition, much like Columbus has with their two young goalies, and Pittsburgh as well with Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith. That's two guys that make a reasonable amount of money, but equally together still don't even make what some teams pay their number one goaltender.
Oh yeah.
So I think that is what they need, and I referenced an option that is a free agent this upcoming season, that could very well be that guy.
Yeah. We'll get into that in just a second, so hold on.
Sure.
Speaking of Carter Hart, because I want to touch on this a little bit too, because you touched on it as well, and
Sure.
He actually asked for Elliott to come back this season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Flyers were like, well, okay, well, we'll sign him back, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he has been about the only bright spot as far as in goal this year, because Carter Hart has obviously, So with those issues and everything like that, is this just a down year for Carter Hart? I mean, can he find his game again? I mean, he comes from a good winning legacy, as you've pointed out, or we have on numerous occasions. I mean, in his career, and look, defense seriously has let him down this year for sure. You know what I'm saying? So, what's really the deal here with Carter Hart?
Well, I think he doesn't. Before this, he's never really known what it is to lose.
Exactly.
Every step he's taken, he's won and he's been successful, and his talents has allowed him to do such. But now that the defense and everything you just mentioned is faltering for him, he's a little frazzled. He's a little rattled, and his numbers are showing. His goals against average has gone up over a goal a game from what it was last season.
Yeah.
His save percentage has dropped under 900, which is not good for a starting goalie.
No.
He's beginning to make plays reacting earlier than he should. His glove is not there. He's trying a little too hard to make that saves. When he should just relax. And yes, for your question, yes, I think he can right his wrongs. He is working on it currently, and he is getting a little bit more confident in net, with some added defense and more aging, in the ones we have.
Yeah.
I think next season he can definitely, hopefully, right his wrongs. But in the same token as that, I think that we need a more definite option in case he doesn't, and in case it takes a little more than one season. He is still, just 22 years old?
He's not going to be 23 until like next August or something like that, or
he's still very young. I guess he's very confident and he's well prepared and all that stuff, and that's why he's up at this point already.
Yeah.
Is all those things, but he needs to work on that, and I think that if we bring in a suitable backup, a 1B, if you will,
Yeah.
I think it would bring a healthier competition and realize that, hey, I need to step up and play because this guy now is a real option. I mean, again,
Exactly.
Chuck Fletcher did not draft this kid.
Exactly.
Alain Vigneault wasn't here when we drafted him.
Exactly.
So the ties to him aren't as strong. Yes, he's a fully capable and an amazing prospect that's still developing into quite a good professional, and I believe he can still get to the his hype that surrounded him. But we need an option that is better than Elliott next season. Elliott should not be having to play number one guy minutes or games when he's 37 years old.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's
That
just
shouldn't.
not,
Yeah,
shouldn't happen.
I'm with you. And you touched on this a little earlier that we were talking about, and you do mention a goalie in your article that could be a replacement for Elliott and Drager from Florida. And I'll tell you what, I really like that idea because, boy, he has been the bright spot down there in Florida instead of Bobrovsky. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And
Yes.
and that I have really liked what I've seen from him, and I've tried to watch some Florida games, and I watch a lot of the condensed games.
Hmm.
So you know what I mean. So it's tough to watch that much hockey, but I do try to watch those condensed games, and I watch a lot of Florida games. That guy just looks good. He has good angles. He has good reaction. He has a good glove. You know what I mean? He's also really good with the communication too. Like you can hear him, he's screaming on the ice. You know what I mean? So I think that's another thing too that's key. Maybe I mean I don't know. I'm not on the ice. I haven't been there. I haven't heard. I don't know. Is Carter Hart one of those kind of guys? Is he yelling and screaming out there, or I mean,
No, I think he's rather quiet in nature. Carter tends to not want to rattle any cages and not really communicate like such. And a lot of guys don't know. I don't know why they don't.
hmm,
I never was quiet during a game. I always was telling my defense because you got to think if you're a defenseman, you're skating in to the zone to recover a puck and your back's to the play. I would want to know if I was a defenseman if somebody's coming on me quick, fast. Are they coming on slow? So do I have a little bit more time to set a play up? I was always boisterous in that, and letting my teammates know what was going on behind their back so that they better suited and didn't make a rush dumb play because they were surprised
yeah,
with what happens when they turned around. So I
exactly.
like I like Chris in that nature as well. He is just 26 years old. He's 6'4", 208 pounds. He's making only $850,000 this season. He's coming off of a rookie type deal. Um, he's played well, like you said, almost overshadowing Bobrovsky, who's won 2 Vezina trophies. Guys, he Bobrovsky makes $10 million a season down in Florida. Okay, and this kid, and now Bobrovsky's season to start wasn't that great, but he's since regained himself a little bit this
Oh
season,
yeah,
and has
yeah. But
been able
Drager's
to.
been right there with him the whole
But
time.
why has Bob in that nature? And that's what we were just talking about with what Carter Hart needs. Dreger was there to step up when Bobrovsky wasn't playing so great early on, and kind of woke Bob up saying, hey, this kid's getting a lot of starts and I'm sitting the bench and making all this money. I better wake up and play. And that's just what he did. Dreger right now is last I checked, has a 2.09 GAA
Yeah.
and a 0.927 goals against or save percentage. Sorry. That's pretty good, guys. And this kid deserves to have a spotlight more. He has no hope or future in Florida, for that matter. Bobrovsky signed for the next 5 years at $10 million. Like it or not, regardless of his play, he's going to be expected to be the number one guy in Florida. And on top of that, um, Florida went out and drafted in 2019 in the first round Spencer Knight. He's already made his NHL debut where he won his first game, and he looks
No,
phenomenal.
yeah, he stopped the last 23 shots in the second and third periods of his debut game and
Yes,
actually had a record with the most stops from a record, most stops for an opening goalie for Florida ever.
right.
So, yeah, and we saw him play in the World Juniors for the
Yes.
United States team. So, this kid, Spencer Knight, is no joke. So, that pretty much leaves
Right.
Drager pretty much,
Well,
dangling on the expendable list.
obsolete. Yeah, they don't need to go out and splurge and bring him back at all because they got Spencer Knight. And on top of that, guys, they have Devon Levy, a guy they drafted last year in the seventh round. And Steele, if you remember this, I was very high on this kid. I had
Yes.
him as possibly the best goalie out of last year's draft.
Yes.
And he played in a lesser league, so he was not so well known, but this goalie right here was very high on this kid, and he had some phenomenal numbers in. Um, he had some phenomenal numbers down in the World Junior Classic himself for Team Canada, which he played
See, yeah.
against
Yeah.
Spencer
Yeah.
Knight in the
Yeah.
gold medal game.
Yeah.
So I'm just floored with
Florida's
this.
a little stacked.
Florida is stacked, guys, and now that they have a coach there that is willing to play these young kids, it's starting to show. Obviously, they were tied last time I checked with Carolina for tops in their division, and they are just above and beyond loaded in the prospect pool. So a guy like Chris is not going to need to be there. And what the Flyers could do is even if they offered him double his salary from what he made last season or more, putting that with what they will have to pay Carter Hart now with his subpar play this season, they aren't going to have to pay Carter Hart $5-6 million a season next
Yeah,
year
see.
because of this. They're going to probably rely on a prove it deal
Yeah.
for a season or two to see if he's going to regain himself. Because let's be honest here, guys, we don't want to go and sign this Carter Hart to big time money, big time years, and have another Brizgalov situation
You're not.
that we're
Hey,
still
you're not
having to
allowed
pay
to say
for.
that
So
name a lot. You're not allowed to say that name on the show
listen,
again.
I have all the faith in Hart, but I don't think that we should go out and spend all kinds of money and throw all kinds of years at him
Yeah.
just yet.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I think if we sign Chris and brought back Carter next season, we could get those two under contract next season combined for less than some guys are paying their number one goalies. So that's a steal, and that gives us more money to go out and get a number one defenseman or something, or number two defenseman to play with Provorov.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's why I wanted to talk about that too. The fact that you said that now, because look, most guys, after you play through your rookie contract or your entry level contract, you don't get that big money right away. You still have to get that bridged contract or that tweener contract or that prove it contract, which is exactly what Carter Hart's going to do. So that's going to lower his number of years that he's going to get, and that's also going to lower the amount of money that he's going to be offered. And that also opens the door to do something like bringing in Drager or another player that you mentioned from the article, Dryden Mckay. Is another player that you mentioned in the article that could be brought in as well too. So the Flyers have options here because honestly, uh, the ones that we touted about Ron Hextall and all the great things that he did as far as the draft and how he stocked the cupboards and on and on and on. However, it seems like the only one thing that he kind of hit on was two goalies, Carter Hart and Ivan. And unfortunately, Ivan seems to be untouchable right now, right? And Carter Hart's really the only one. None of the current administration has ties to any of the drafts that they have now, right?
Hmm.
So for them to go out and get somebody would be completely understandable.
Yeah, I think Felix Sandstrom's largely blowing it as far as I'm concerned in Lehigh. He's was highly touted, and he was supposed to be the number one guy to compete with Carter Hart for the Flyers job, and he's faltering. Kirill Yustemenko still got a long way to go. He's not going to be ready next year to take over a backup position with the
Exactly.
Flyers. Um, Sam Earlson is still in Sweden, is not signed yet.
Yeah.
He's okay in my mind, but hasn't blown. He played on a horrible team this season, but he hasn't. He didn't blow anybody away with his numbers either.
Right.
So I don't think he's going to be ready. So a guy like Dryden Mckay, who is an undrafted free agent that played in the NCAA and was just phenomenal. Was a possible signing, a steal in my mind. At 23 years old, he led his team to the Final Four this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a two-time Hobie Baker Award finalist. Okay,
Wow.
yeah, he had 10 shutouts this season, 10 shutouts last season. He has some unheard of numbers. Just, goals against average this season of 1.54 and a 9.924 save percentage. And they were only
Jeez.
better last season. Last season, he won 30 games.
Oh gosh.
Um, this kid is phenomenal talent, and I don't know why more NHL teams aren't beating down his door. He's contemplating going back for another season, and honestly, I think the Flyers should just, Chuck Fletcher should be flying out to his
Swoop out
house
there.
right now
Yeah.
and with contract and a big one of those big
Suitcase full of
publisher
one
clearinghouse
of those
checks and
checks.
just
Yeah.
write a blank check for him because right now, guys, I don't see any prospect goaltenders that can make a jump to the NHL next season, and there's very few unrestricted free agents out there besides Chris that we mentioned that are tantalizing. A lot of them are broken up guys that are available that have concussion syndrome, some knee injuries. A lot of guys were like, okay, just never really made it to what they were supposed to be. Just not what we're looking for. And this kid has played phenomenal in the college ranks, and as we're seeing now with Wade Allison and Tanner Lazinski and Jackson Cates coming into the fold now. A lot of these kids are 23, 24 years old. They've been playing against men in college ranks and are ready to go. And I think he could be very well one of those next guys. I think if whoever he does sign with, he's going to be in an NHL uniform very quickly,
Yeah.
and he's going to be impressive very soon. I
He
hope it's with
already
the
sound
Flyers.
yeah, he already does sound impressive to be honest with you. He doesn't even
Yeah.
need to be with the Flyers. He already sounds impressive with playing for Minnesota State University. So
Right.
I'm hey, I like those kind of moves. I'm all for those kind of moves. If it makes a team better, if it brings a player that's going to be here for a long period of time, that's going to help the team and be able to bring some good things to the table, I'm all for that all day long. You know what I mean? So
And it's going to be a cheap option. I mean,
that's
signing him
exactly.
is if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I mean, it's the same thing that we tried with Alex Lyon. He was
Yeah.
supposed to be great, and he is what he is. He's a decent AHL goaltender. But come on, guys, he's been
That's
here
about
4 or 5 years, and he's not progressed.
That's right. That's it.
So it's time to give somebody else a shot.
And it's time to move on
Yes.
from these kinds of players because that's all they're ever going to do. That's all they're ever going to be. You know what I mean? Look, all I can say is this: if this team does not address some of these issues, some of these glaring issues, then it's not going to get any better in Flyer Town. Okay, and seriously, some things need to be corrected, and some major adjustments need to be made if this team wants to be considered a cup contender for years to come. And all the names that you just mentioned, the Wade Allisons, the Zade Wisdoms, the Cam Yorks, the Zumalas, the Tyson Forsters. Look, this this group of next wave of players for the Flyers is very tantalizingly awesome. I mean, it just has that flavor of next generation, new wave of holy smokes. I mean, I'm excited.
I am too. But it's funny that we're talking about this because I'm working on a piece now about uh, getting rid of some of the prospects that have kind of not developed, and get out with the old and in with the new. There's some prospects that need to be signed, and that are playing phenomenally where they're at, and they need a contract. And we've mentioned a few of them already, but there's still many more. So I'm working on something in that
Ooh,
regards. I haven't quite.
previews.
Yeah, I
We
haven't
like
got that
previews.
quite laid out perfectly yet, but
Cool.
it should be out soon.
Awesome sauce. We like previews. Speaking of previews, we're going to take a quick little break here. We're going to get a word from our sponsor, www.cccresorts.com. They have a great daycare, spa treatment for your dog, pool, indoor and outdoor, which will be opening up here really soon. They have two great locations. They also take care of cats, professional groomers, everything you can possibly think of to do for your pets and take care of your pets. You name it, they can take care of it. And we'll be able to check them out. So we'll be right back after this. Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. Steel Flyer stands behind this company 100%. Taken care of Steel Flyers furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger, and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities, and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for the people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full-service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God. All right, thank you very much. We're back, and thank you very much for watching our sponsor there, www.cccresorts.com. Check them out. Check them out also on Facebook as well, too. They're in their 30th year anniversary of being in business. SteelFlyers Dog goes there, and I highly recommend that you check them out. So, all right, Lance, we're moving on to the bigger and better and the next one, and part of this series that you've put together here, which has been really awesome. We've been talking about a blueprint for the Flyers off season. And we've covered the goalie edition, and now we're going to get into the defense edition. And it was posted on FlyersNittyGritty.com here just a couple of days ago, and this was the first in the series, so... And I have to be honest with you here. I think this is where most of the work needs to be done, is in the defensive core and or the blue line here. And you made a lot of great points in your article, and you specifically talked about specific players and specific things that the Flyers could do. So we're going to jump right into that. I really have to agree with you on the one, and that is this fact that Niski only played one season for the Flyers. I mean, you mean that one player made that much of a difference? That you are a shell of a D-corps without him? I mean, really? What? One player for 1 year? It wasn't even all that good? I mean, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, while Niskanen was a great player, was for
Not
us
taking
and
away
everything
from
like
that.
that.
Not taking that away.
Not taking
No.
anything away from him at all. But let's be honest here, guys. He's not Mark Howe. He played okay. He played it to be what is expected of him. But to blame everything on his absence now and a year early retirement, I don't see it. With all this hype surrounding this young defense that is so highly talented and everything coming up the pike, and now another year older, and something else is the problem. I don't think it can all be fault laid on Matt for retiring a year early. That's for sure.
Come on, you can't tell me that one player, and the fact that there were some very bad moves that were made to try to compensate for the loss of that one particular player, a la the Gustafsson trade or acquisition, a la the Justin Braun re-signing as well too. So, as you definitely point out, it really comes down to the basics. Defense 101, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I wrote a piece before about this, and they're just not doing the basics, guys. The basic stuff is taking the pass away and allowing the goalie to have the shooter. Basic defense is clearing the porch so your goalie can see the puck. How about laying a check to stop the play at the blue line once in a while instead of retreating all the way back in and allowing guys like Ovechkin and Crosby and everybody else to skate right on by you, We got defensemen that are 6'4", 6'5", and are afraid to hit people. I don't get it. Everybody says this is a different NHL, but why is it not so different for other teams? Why is it only considered to be having to be different for the Flyers? I don't get it.
Great point. Because let's look at the last. Look, all you have to do is look at the last 10 Stanley Cup winners. Chicago, they were a physical team. Tampa Bay, physical team. Pittsburgh, physical team, right? Every team that's won the cup in the last couple of years. St. Louis, physical team, right? All those teams are physical. You look at teams that are playing really, really well right now that are going to be cup contenders right now. Who are they? Colorado, physical team. Tampa Bay, physical team. Florida, physical team. Toronto, physical team. Hey, go figure. What? Flyers can't be a physical team too? Why not? I mean,
I don't know.
All you have to do is look at the Islanders. They're a physical team too.
Yeah.
Washington, physical team. Every single team can say that they're a physical team because they check you, they body check you, they do those things. Why can't the Flyers do that? What is it? Coaching? Is it a talent issue? What?
I don't know. I sincerely, think that it's a leadership problem. First and foremost, when you have Alexander Ovechkin being probably the most phenomenal goal scorer of this era, and he's the first
Without
one to
question.
finish his own checks. He's the first one to step up and drop the gloves if necessary.
Yeah.
He's one of the most active leaders in the whole NHL in hits and goals. So why can't we be a complete team and play a complete game? I think the Flyers as a whole have become lazy and lackadaisical and take shifts off and don't play the whole game.
Or take nights off.
Yes.
Look, I've heard this circling around. I've seen it. I've read it a couple places where I've seen players say, "Oh, you can't play. There's no such thing as a 60-minute game." Well, let me tell you something. Okay? I never played hockey. I never got the distinct honor and privilege of playing hockey. Okay? But I played a different sport. Okay? It was the same amount of time. It was an hour. Okay? We played 14-minute quarters. Okay? So it wasn't quite an hour, but it was close. Okay? Because in high school you don't play full 15-minute quarters. You play 14-minute quarters. And then as you get younger, you play less and less and less, right? So in high school you play 14-minute quarters. So that's almost an hour, right? Okay. So I don't care if you're on the bench waiting for your turn to go out and play, or if you're out there for every single play. It's a 60-minute game. I don't want to hear this, well, it's not really a 60-minute game. No. You guys are the best athletes in the world. And you're trying to tell me that it's okay to take a shift off or a game off or a night off because it's not a 60-minute game? Are you kidding me? I mean, where does that come from?
I don't know. I don't know. Try telling that to Mike Keenan. Back in the day, you would find yourself on the bench for sure.
You wouldn't be on the team much longer after that either.
Right. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to wrap my head around this. They just need a new leadership. I think this youth movement is doing them a good, service with guys like Wade Allison coming in. He's hungry. He wants it, guys. And some of the players are starting to feed off of that. I think most of these guys are jaded veterans now and just used to driving around in their Bentley SUVs and coming to the rink and going home, and they have kids, they have a family, they have everything else, and maybe hockey is becoming a secondary thing for them, and that's a problem when you're getting paid $7-8 million a season to do such. You're expected to lead by example, and these guys are clearly not. When when the team is feeding off of a kid that's playing in his first 5 games, and he's causing more of a leadership role in that sense of a following coming up behind him, and that's sad.
You know what was really cool is watching Sam Moran come in and watching the pregame skates and watching the chirping that was going on. Because I pay attention to that kind of stuff. I don't know about you, but
Right.
and I watch that kind of stuff and I pay attention to that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what he's laying down his law. He's announcing his presence, knowing that guess what? I'm playing in the game tonight. So if you come across my wake, there's going to be some big waves. You understand what I'm saying to you? And we need at least another player like that who is a winger or a center or the captain. Uh, I, look. I don't have a problem with Giroux as captain. I didn't have a problem with Mike Richards as captain. I never had a problem with the captains that they had selected for the team. Okay? But what I do have a problem with is this. If you say that you're the captain, well, what's your style? Oh, he's a quiet leader. Well, then that to me doesn't sound like a really good captain.
It doesn't.
Okay? I want somebody who is so competitive that they get so angry that they can't control their emotions in between periods. I mean, if the coach isn't blistering the paint on the walls, then the captain better be.
I agree. Some of the best captains I had, and I served as an assistant captain on teams before. And if we were having some bad games, we as leadership group would not even let the coaches in the locker room before we had a chance to talk to our team. And I just don't see I don't see that. I don't see that coming from
No.
some of the people that are wearing a letter on their sweater in Philly. So
Exactly. And I think some coaching. Because I really look, I've seen now 2 seasons of AV system. Okay? And here's the thing that I've kind of deduced from this whole system. If you don't have the talent, then the system can't work. Okay? Because you clearly get overrun. You clearly are constantly putting smaller people in to places that need to be bigger people. The bigger people you have in there, you're telling them to not do certain things, so they're not finishing checks. They're poke checking instead of hip checking. I mean, the last time I checked, hip checking was still legal in the NHL.
yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and all you have to do is watch Radko Gudas, and you'll see the perfect hip check ever. Okay,
Yeah.
that man got that down, right? Okay? If you ever want to see a hip check, man, just check out Radko Gudas. He got the hip check down, right? And Chris Therien, he was another one. Man, he had that hip check perfect. He could just put his butt right where he needed to, and that would be the end of where you were going. And we don't have a player on the D core right now that can do that can put that hit on that player to stop that guy coming down the wing. We don't have that player on the D-core that's going to, stop Ovechkin from coming down the side and blowing the doors off and having that shot from the point that he's so famous for. Hey, he scored almost every goal. Let's let him do it again. Line him up. Here you go. Here, I'll open it up the net for you. I'll take my mask off and stand off to the side so you have a clear view of the net. I mean, come on. What? Okay. Enough about what's broken. We've gone at length, ad nauseum, about what's broken. So, deep breath. Let's get into how we can fix what is broken. And see, this is why the first edition of the blueprint for the goalies, because exactly what you talk about. We need to get rid of Brian Elliott. We need to bring in a player like Drager or McKay who can challenge Carter Hart. You sign Carter Hart to a prove-it deal. You get two really good, decent young goalies for less than $5 million, which is what teams are paying for their number one goalie or more. So that, to me, I think, is a blueprint for how you fix the goaltending. So, here comes the big shovel and the big hole. Spell it out for me, man. I mean, you did a great job in the article about pointing out quite a number of different things that could be done and quite a number of examples. So let's get into it, man. Spell it out for me.
Sure. So the first guy that would come to mind that would obviously fix this defensive core really quickly would be Dougie Hamilton. He's a right-hand shot, of course, that the Flyers need so desperately to pair with Provorov. He's 27 years old. He's an unrestricted free agent at season's end. He's playing for Carolina right now, and he is big, guys. He's 6'6", 227 pounds. He plays with grit and toughness. He clears the front of the porch. People fear getting in his wingspan, and it is a very large one at that. Last season, he made $5.75 million, so it's pretty high. But one of the best stats that he does have that is downplayed for some reason nowadays is the fact that he's a plus 66 in his career. When he is on the ice, the team is scoring, or they're not letting in goals, period.
Exactly.
But herein lies the problem. He may be out of the Flyers' price range. Yes, the Flyers will save some money.
How much did you say it was? 5.5?
He's 5.75 right now on this deal, but I think he's going to be one of the most highly talented players. For defense-wise, I think he could get upwards of $7 to $8 million a year next season. He is that good. He is going to be that Peter Angelo type player as far as money goes. He's going to be the first defenseman probably off the board to whoever has the biggest change purse. So I think he would be great, and if the Flyers can find a way to relieve some cap space via trading somebody else in order to require him. I think Chuck Fletcher has already hinted at wanting to do so. He's wanting to make a big move, and I think he knows he has to with his failures, and as we said, Braun and Gustafsson bringing in and not replacing Niskanen with a capable replacement. So I think he will, but I don't think Dougie Hamilton's essentially going to be that guy for us. A guy that I do think is more capable of doing such is one that is not so well known is Adam Larson. He's currently playing in Edmonton. He's that right-hand shot, guys. He's 6'3", 208 pounds. 28 years old, so around that same age. He's been around for a bit. He's a first-round draft pick back
Got all the tools.
I think back in 2011. He's a number 4 overall pick, and there's reason for that, guys. He's underrated in my mind. He played for just $4 million plus last season, so he's pretty much a bargain right now. But some of the best stats that he has on his number, he does have a great shot that's underrated in my mind, but he blocks shots, guys. How's a goalie gonna get better? He's by not facing so many shots every night. He's second in the league right now in block shots with 113 last time I checked. But on top of that, he hits too, guys. He has 132 hits last time I checked on the season. That's roughly top 15 in the whole league. And a lot of guys don't have this guy as highly rated as most other defensemen. He played for New Jersey. He was drafted out of New Jersey, and he was playing on a horrible New Jersey team. And he was traded away for Taylor Hall. And for that matter. So that tells you how highly Edmonton thought to trade Taylor Hall back then for him. I think that the Flyers could get him on a pay raise probably, but a suitable one that could offer Provorov a solid option so that Provorov could feel comfortable in going up and getting into the zone, making a shot, and not having to feel so inclined to hurry up and get back because Larson's going to be there.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think Larson was a great idea, and Provorov should not be on the power play. In my opinion, he's not that player. He's not the quarterback of the power play. He should not be up there at the point. He's just that's not his game. And look, I'm not trying to say that that's a bad thing per se. That that's not your game, but he shouldn't be up there doing that. And other players are better suited to doing that. You know what I mean? So.
I do, and I think Provorov, and his biggest downfall right now is he's playing too much.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's having to do it all, and in that sense, he can't because he's playing too much. He's a little tired, and he's not going to admit that, but he's just having to be out on the ice far too much. They need to bring in possibly a winger that can play the point on a power play, and another capable defenseman that is not going to be so inclined to let so many pucks go by him as some of ours do. Can be a little more trusted out there, so that Provorov can have a seat on the bench once in a while.
You know what else too? And this is another thing that I've noticed too in the last couple of games with the Flyers, especially on the power play, is this. There's a lot of the, hot potato, nobody shoots the puck, right? But I'm also noticing, too, that there's never a player back to stop the puck from going out of the zone. When you watch other teams like Edmonton or Toronto or Florida or Carolina, and you watch them on the power play, even teams like New Jersey and Detroit, and there's always two guys back there on the corners. I mean, come on! Why don't we have somebody back there? It's always going past the guys because they're up too far or in too deep. You know what I mean? And, like I said. Look, you also mentioned somebody else in the article, too. And I'm just going to ask you right now, sell me on Alex Martinez. Go.
Sure. What's not to like about this guy?
Right.
He's a 33-year-old veteran. Okay, he might come a little cheaper than the last two we mentioned, so that's good. He's a left-hand shot. He's not a right-hand shot like we want, but he's a capable defenseman. He does put the puck in the net quite a bit. He scores big-time goals. He's scored Stanley Cup clinching goals before. He's scored playoff, clinching series winners. Okay, he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion with LA. He's playing for Vegas right now, but he leads the league in block shots with 128 last time I checked, and he's a plus 22. He's in top 10 in the whole league in plus minus. Okay. This guy does not let pucks go in the net while he's on the ice.
Sold.
He's a defensive defenseman that can jump up in the play when needed. He knows when to go and when to stay back. And I think that our defensive core could learn a thing or two from him.
Exactly.
Obviously, we don't need all three of these guys get brought in. We don't need a whole new defense. We need a defensive leader out there that has spent some seasons in the NHL that can show these defensemen the right way to play the game again. Yeah. I think they're pushing too much and they want to be too offensive, and they need to realize their job title as a defenseman and get back and help out Hart. And I think that one of these three players could obviously help the team do that and help mold the young ones that are still to come. and Cam York and all those guys we have already mentioned.
Yeah, because that's what I'm really excited to see is some of that coming up too, as some of these young guys that we've so talked about and so raved about. Our defensive depth. Well, okay, so a blueprint to the defensive depth might be to bring up the kids.
Yeah. But again, you have to have
Yeah,
the space for them. I think.
and you still need to have that leader. You still
Yeah.
need to have that calming guy on defense who's that veteran guy. Look, Provorov is gonna be that guy, but gonna be and be that guy at two different words.
Definitely is. And, you need that leader. And that's why I suggested one of these three players to get that ball moving
Yep.
in the right direction again for the defense. And at the same time, Gustafson's gone. That's great. That was a situation or a signing that really didn't work out. We all know that. But the thing is really going to hurt us, guys, is Justin Braun hanging around for another season. This is taking up a roster spot, and this is what we didn't need. If they wanted to bring him back this season, great, bring him back for one season. I don't know why they signed him to a 2-year term. Maybe they thought Cam York wasn't going to be ready. Igor Zumala, Wyatt Wiley, Mason Millman. We got Ronnie Attard to still get signed and come up. We have defense coming up the pike, and we're just log jamming and backing it up with the old guys that need to get out of there.
Can we just release him? Can we just release him?
I wish. They do have a buyout option, but I don't even think they're going to be doing that. I don't know. They need to find. He's not horrible, guys, but we have players that can replace him and be better suited for cheaper options.
Yeah.
And we need to stop blocking the youth.
Exactly. And that
and
is
embrace
definitely,
it.
Yeah, that's definitely blocking the youth. Look, Lance, we covered two very, very key areas of the team that need to be addressed this off season. And with these articles here in this show, I think we just might be building a blueprint here for the Flyers off season. So I think we could probably say we could stay tuned for some more of these great articles. Yeah.
I think
we need to get an offensive one, right? Or a winger one. Or are you going to break it down like that, or are you just going to go offense?
I think we might touch on an offensive one in general. I don't know if I'll actually do another blueprint, but I'm definitely doing some ideas. I don't know where I'm going to go yet on that. I got a lot of stuff I need to get on my laptop here and write. So
there you go.
Before next week for sure.
Oh man! Well, I'll tell you what, man. You have to stay tuned for some more great guests, some more great articles. And of course, talking all things Flyers with the great Lance Green as your host. And I'm SteelFlyers, your co-host. Thank you very much. Lance, we had another good one, I think. What do you think, man?
I think so. Cam York's played his first professional game with the Phantoms. We got a lot of things to look forward to.
I thought he looked good in spite of the fact that the team didn't. I mean, coming back from COVID and everything.
Yeah,
but I thought he looked really good for his.
I think so. He said it's an obvious change, a little faster paced game.
Slightly.
Slightly. So he thinks he can adjust. I like his confidence. I think we have a lot to look forward to. Wade Allison's on the Flyers roster now. I'm interested to see what Cates, if he gets a shot up there and gets a game in. And this is what I'm looking forward to, guys. Seeing some of these young kids and what they can do and what they can offer. And I think they did well with getting rid of guys like Raffle and opening up a spot or two for next season.
Exactly.
So let's just keep it on the up and up, guys, and look forward to seeing some of these young kids progress now the rest of the season. As always, I'm your host, Lance Green. You can follow me on Twitter at LNGBASSIST, the number's 39. You can catch all my articles on Flyers Nitty Gritty. and Steel Flyers.
Yeah, man. Can't wait for the next one. Love all the stuff that you're writing. Love all the great up and coming articles that we talked about, and love the great articles that you have out now. Really appreciate all the support from FlyersNittyGritty.com. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsors, www.cccresorts.com. Appreciate all their support as well, too. Lance, we got another great one here, and I can't wait to do the next one. And we'll see you all next time on the Hockey Writers Inc.